everyone, it's Tammie Stanton from It's Your Fitness, PMBI Certified Skills Coach, here for your 4th episode of Coach's Corner, brought to you by Frontenac Cycle. We're in the gym today. We're going to focus on ankle mobility, hip mobility, and upper body stability that ties back into our first 3 episodes. It's important to be able to move seamlessly between those positions on the bike, and to do that, you need to be strong in the gym. Today's session will help you identify some of those issues at your ankles, your hips, and your upper body that need to be worked through to be able to, say, drop the ankle on the bike or get into that hip hinge position, which we're going to practice. One thing to note, though, if you do have any health concerns, please talk to your doctor before you start any programming. You'll see I'm warming up on the spin bike. You can choose anything that you want to do to warm up. At least 8 to 10 minutes, go for a run around the block, go walk up and down your stairs a few times. It's important to lubricate the joints, warm up the body to get ready for your workout. So pause, come back and meet me in about 10 minutes. All right, welcome back. Hopefully you're nice and warm. I do need you to go grab some equipment though. So if you can grab your yoga mat and a towel and roll them up, and just go ahead and set those aside for now. The other thing that you're gonna need to grab is some kind of a long pole. So in here, I've got a nice sturdy wooden dowel. If you don't have something like this though, a good broom works just as well. Screw off the top and go ahead and set that aside. The other thing that you'll need is a foam roller, but if you don't have one, that's okay. A good sturdy water bottle, like a Nalgene, works really well. Another little tip here, if you put hot water in it, it's really soothing when you go to do your rolling on that one. Last but not least, you're gonna need 2 dining room chairs, some nice sturdy chairs, and then either a dumbbell or even a stack of books works for what we're gonna do today. All right, so go ahead and roll out your yoga mat, or even a towel works down on the floor. If you've got your Nalgene, go ahead and grab it, or your foam roller, and come on down with me. So I want you to go ahead and put your left foot up onto your roller. Lift yourself up just gently away from the floor, and just do some exploration to see how those calves feel right now. So come down to the ankle, come up towards the knee. A few things to remember when you're foam rolling is that you never want to cross over the joints, and you never want to roll over bones. Stick to the meaty parts of the legs. When you've found a spot that's maybe a little bit tender, go ahead and hold on there. Point the toe, flex the toe, point the toe, flex the toe, and remember to keep breathing. It's really important to take nice deep breaths in and out while you're rolling so that you're telling your body that it's time to relax those muscles. A couple more, back and forth. And let's go ahead and switch over onto the other side. So same thing. And go ahead and place that roller in underneath you, rolling back and forth. Kind of turn your toes in and out. Come nice and low into that ankle. Come nice and high up towards that knee. If you find a spot that's a little bit tender, again, rest on it, point the toe, flex the toe, continuing to breathe throughout. Just a few more seconds. Nice. All right, you can go ahead and flip yourself over. I'll show you on the foam roller this time. So come on down, place the foam roller just above the knee and get yourself into a plank-like position. And then same thing, just backwards and forwards over top of those thighs. Nice deep breath in and exhale out. If you find a spot on one of those legs, I want you to go lean into it a little bit more, and then I want you to draw the heel to your glute and then back down again. Heel to the glute and back down again. Don't let your upper body collapse in this. Try to hold some strength in your arms and your neck. And again, keep breathing. Go ahead and switch over to that other leg. Do a little bit of exploring, see if you find any trigger points in there. Find a spot, heel to glute. Nice deep breath in, exhale away. Good, last time. And release, nicely done. We're gonna come up to the chair this time to do our hamstrings. So with your dining room chair and whatever rolling device you have, come on down. You're gonna take your rolling device and place it in underneath the front leg. So you're almost in like a lunge type position. You wanna put a little bit of pressure into those hamstrings. You can support your body weight on the chair and then just roll back and forth. It's important to keep the knee bent when you're rolling out your hamstrings. The sciatic nerve runs down there on the back of the leg, and nerves don't like to be stretched. So we wanna have that knee bent to keep it loose as we're rolling. One thing though, if you do find one of those sticky spots like what our calves felt like, just pull that heel in, contract a little bit, and then go ahead and release. Roll around, find another spot, pull that heel in, contract, and release. Remembering to breathe throughout. It's really important to take those nice deep cleansing breaths in, long, slow exhales out. Few more times, readjust, maybe get a little closer to the knee. You can turn the knee in ever so slightly, turn the knee out, and release. Go ahead and rotate around. We're gonna take that rolling device back in underneath that front leg, same thing, back and forth. Again, supporting your body weight on the chair. That way, if it's too intense, you can actually push yourself away from the chair ever so slightly so that there's not so much pain when you're rolling. Of course, if it feels okay, you can go ahead and take lots of weight into that hamstring, rolling back and forth. Find one of those sticky spots, draw the heel in, contract, nice big breath. And release, go ahead and roll around a bit more, readjust, come up to the knee, turn the knee in, turn the knee out. One more time, draw that heel in, nice big breath, exhale and release. Okay, now that we're done our rolling, we're gonna move to the wall and start working on our ankle mobility stuff. So from our very first episode, we talked about the importance of being able to drop that heel down, but if you're having issues at the ankle joint, we need to work on that. So turning and facing the wall, we're gonna get pretty close. I want you to take your left leg and bring it just a little bit further in front of the right leg. So you're gonna line up the heels with the toes. Then I need you to make sure that the pelvis or the hip bones are equal distance away from the wall. So be careful of allowing the body to open up. Get yourself so that you're parallel to the wall. Then from there, keeping your left heel down on the ground, we're slowly gonna come down into a squat and we're gonna drive that knee to the wall. Stand back up again and repeat. Drive that knee to the wall, stand back up again. Now, if you're finding this is a little bit too easy, I want you to take that foot maybe half an inch or an inch away from the wall. You can use your wood flooring as a placeholder or maybe even just measure it off with a ruler. Reset, hold yourself, do that again. Knee tap to the wall, stand back up. Really focus on driving that heel down into the ground, keeping the pelvis equal distance from the wall, standing up nice and tall as you tap the knee back and forth. Challenge it a little bit more if things are starting to loosen it up. 3 more reps. Tap, back up, tap. Oh, that's a struggle. Good, last one. And release, nice. Go ahead and switch. This time right leg's gonna come in front. Line up the left toes with the right heel. Again, square yourself off, up nice and tall. Come down into that tap, press it back up again. Tap, press it back up. Slide back a little bit more, challenge that. Tap. Really push that right heel down into the ground this time. Good, maybe back a little bit more. Really fight for it. 3 more. Good, 2. Last one. And release, nice. We're gonna move to the chair next. So line up your books and we're gonna stretch over there. So at our chair with our books, if you've got any balance issues, you can grab your broomstick or your wooden dowel to help you with balance so you can focus a little bit more on the stretch and the motion first. We're gonna go ahead and put our left foot up on top of the books. And again, squaring our pelvis off, I'm gonna take my left toes and turn them in just ever so slightly. Then rotate forward. Now, standing up tall, engaging your core, relaxing your shoulders, I'm gonna tap my right leg up onto the chair, almost in front of that left foot, and then right back down again. Stand up tall, tap, and bring it back down again. Tap, and bring it back down again. Keep going there. Really feel that stretch in that left leg. Imagine there is a string attached to your head, drawing you up towards the ceiling. Standing tall and breathing throughout. Last one. And release. I'm gonna go ahead and put the dowel down so that you can see what it looks like without. Switch over to your right foot. Again, turn that right toe in ever so slightly, square up the hips, standing nice and tall, tap, and then bring it back down. Tap, and bring it back down. Again, using your breath, in through your nose, exhale through your lips, feeling that nice deep stretch on the right side. Good, 2 more. Last one. And release. So our next exercise is a yoga squat. So this is really important for getting deep into that end range of motion at our ankles. So you're just gonna drop all the way down to the floor, sink your pelvis down, chest is up nice and high, and what you want to focus on is keeping the heels in contact with the ground. Now, if you have really tight ankles or if you maybe have mobility issues, what you can do is actually roll up your mat to lift the heels up to take a little bit of pressure off of that ankle. Or if that's not quite enough, you can come into a single leg yoga squat instead. So take your left leg, press that heel down into the ground. Ankle bones need to be equal distance from the floor, and then you're just gonna drive that knee out over the toes. Draw that right knee into the foot as deep as you can to feel that stretch in that lower leg at the ankle. Again, like what we've done throughout this practice, you wanna make sure that you're breathing. Nice deep breath in, exhale away. Holding here, really focusing on trying to drive that heel down into your mat. Try to get that knee out over those toes, really getting into that flexion at the ankle. Sink into it. You want to hold these positions for at least 90 seconds. So per leg, or if you're in a full yoga squat with both legs, allow your pelvis to relax and sink into the position. You can work at trying to get the feet closer together or farther apart, using your breath throughout. And go ahead and break. So in our second set, along with our second video, we talked about hip mobility, moving from neutral into ready position. And basically all that is a hip hinge or deadlift, squat. There's lots of different names for it, but it's important to find a neutral spine first before movement. So go ahead and grab your dowel, your broomstick. You're gonna bring it up and you're gonna find 3 points of contact with your back. And those neutral points are your tailbone, your thoracic spine or your upper back, and the back of your head. So draw that head right back. Take your hands and slide them into the natural curves of the spine, down in your lower back or your lumbar spine, and up at your neck or your cervical spine. Then from there, with your feet at hip width apart, I want you to imagine like you're screwing your feet into the ground. Press your big toe point down, and then really turn the feet in so that you feel a bit of a lock through your hips and your pelvis. Then from there, holding that position, bracing your core, drawing your belly button in, drive that tailbone back as if it's cantilevering over your heels, bending forward, and then push and drive all the way back up again. Really work hard at trying to not lose those 3 points of contact with your dowel or your broomstick. Use your breath throughout. Really concentrate on drawing that belly button in, keeping that rib cage engaged into that dowel, sending the hips back into that nice deep hip hinge position. We have 3 more. Pull that head back into that dowel. Good, 2. Last one. Belly button in. And release. Now, I want you to stagger the stance, especially for mountain biking. Our feet are never parallel when we're up in the pedals. So take those feet, stagger them, and then we're gonna repeat. Find those 3 points of contact, tailbone, thoracic spine, back of the head, engage the core, belly button is in, same thing, send that tailbone back, and all the way back up to standing. Tailbone back, all the way back up to standing. Relax the shoulders, relax the head and neck, focus on that breathing. The hardest part is keeping that tailbone in contact and keeping that rib cage in contact while maintaining that neutral spine, especially if you have tight hamstrings, which that's why we're rolling them, to help loosen them up to practice this position. Good, last one. And release, nicely done. Let's switch that up. The other leg comes forward. Let's reset everything. So find those 3 points again. Maybe your shoulders are getting tired. You can go ahead and switch those arms up if you need to. Core's nice and tight. Again, send the tailbone back and back up to standing. Really concentrate on your breath. Pull that belly button in. Maintain that contact with that dowel throughout. That's it. Again, imagining the feet screwing into the floor, really giving you some grounding through the legs and the hips. Good, last one. And release, nicely done. So our next exercise, you're gonna wanna grab that rolled up towel, and it's just to help cushion your knee as we get into a lunge. It's really important to have hips that are not only strong and stable, but also that the front of the hip is not lengthened from biking all the time and just from life in general. So with the towel out in front of you, I want you to stagger your stance and take a fairly big step over top of the towel. Then from there, again, squaring up the hips, thinking about those 3 points of contact. Just imagine the dowel in place now. Get up onto the back toe, and we're gonna come down, tap that towel, and then stand all the way back up again. Come up. Tap the towel, all the way back up again. Keep that core nice and tight. Think about that neutral spine position. Be careful about allowing the rib cage to flare out. Be careful of allowing the hip flexors to pull you into these forward positions. When you're doing this, really think about that nice strong torso. We have 2 more. Good, last one. And release, switch that up. Stagger the stance. Again, square yourself up, find that neutral spine position, rib cage is down, belly button is in, up on top of that tippy toe of the back leg, drop it down, stand it back up. Drop it down, stand it back up. Keep going. Again, no holding your breath, being really careful about movement here. Watch those hip flexors pulling you forward. Hold your body up nice and tall. 3 more. Good, 2. Last one. And release, nicely done. We're gonna move straight to our chair now, and I want you to stand in front of your chair and go ahead and bend down and support yourself with your arms on the chair. Think about that hip hinge position that we just practiced, but now we're gonna shift over onto the left leg as we lift the right leg up. Without changing anything else, bring it back down. Now switch, come to the right leg, bring the left leg up, and switch. Really concentrate on holding that body, thinking about that neutral spine, loading up that hip, holding that hip hinge position. This is one of those ones that'll really show you if there's imbalances in the hip, if you've ever had any injuries. Keep those shoulders nice and strong, head in line with the spine, belly button in, almost there. Keep breathing. Really watch any motion where you're rocking side to side. As you bring that leg down and switch weight, we want to hold that spine in position throughout. That's it, keep going. 3, squeeze that glute, really kick through the heel. 2, last one, and release. Nicely done. So our third set focuses on the upper body and the motion that we need to have in our shoulders and in our elbows and stability through our wrists, like in our third video of our riding series. So the first exercise we're gonna do, I want you to move towards a wall and you're gonna get yourself into a wall sit position. So walk those feet out in front of you, keeping your knees and your ankles and your hips in a nice straight line. Again, always thinking about that neutral spine. Your 3 points of contact are now with the wall. So draw that head back in line with the spine. Relax the shoulders, find that rib cage and imprint it into the wall. Then just check to make sure you've got that little bit of space in underneath your lumbar spine with your tailbone and your pelvis making contact. Engage the core, holding that position here. Legs are loaded, your body's nice and strong. Now we're actually gonna work on opening up our shoulders. So I want you to take your arms 90 degrees at the elbows, 90 degrees at the shoulders, and squeeze them back into the wall. So for some of you, if you've had previous shoulder injuries, this might be a challenging motion in and of itself. Hold here, breathe through it. For those of you who maybe have a little more range of motion, I want you to start snow angeling those arms up the wall and then back down again. The whole time, concentrating on that rib cage, that belly button pulled in, that head pulling back into the wall, and then breathe. Don't let that rib cage flare away from the wall, and be careful of losing that space in underneath the lower spine. A few more seconds. Really squeeze those elbows to the wall. Good, last time. And release. So this is our setup for our second exercise of our third set. Go ahead and grab your dining room chairs. Grab that nice sturdy broomstick or that wooden dowel. Please make sure it's a sturdy broomstick, and go ahead and place it up onto your chairs. Safety first, so make sure that they're not gonna tip. Make sure that the dowel's not gonna slide. Really kind of lock it in there. So for a level 1 chest press position, you're gonna grab a towel or your yoga mat, cushion your knees, and line yourself up in front of the dowel. Then I want you to go ahead and grab onto the dowel out in front of you, and I want you to imagine your hand position on the mountain bike or a fairly neutral upper body. Then from here, I want you to pretend like you're trying to break that bar.
It's good. I'm in the shot.
Oh.
That's okay, keep going.
Keep going. Rob's in the shot. So I want you to pretend like you're trying to break that bar. Really bend it so that your shoulders are in a nice, strong, stable position. Activate that core, think about that neutral spine, draw the head back in line, keeping the core nice and tight. Bring the chest down to the bar, and then push and drive away. Bring the chest to the bar, push and drive away. Move in one solid unit. So your hips and your pelvis follow your torso and your head. So it's not a separate hinge forward. Be careful about those motions. Really lock that spine in, pull the shoulders down, break that bar, bring it down, and push it back up. For those of you who want a little more intensity, come on up into a long lever plank position. Same cues, shoulders are down, break the bar, activate the core, chest to the bar, push and drive away. Use your breath, no holding your breath here. I want you to think about blowing away on the exertion and then breathing in as you drop yourself down. Couple more. You got this. 3. Push, push, push. 2. Come on, dig in. Last one. And release. So our last exercise of this set, I want you to grab your yoga mat and come on down to the back side of the mat. Stack your knees directly in underneath your hips, and then take your hands and bring them right in underneath your shoulders. Now we really want to concentrate on that shoulder stability, but that comes along with spinal stability as well. So from here, push into the floor and then turn the crease of the elbows towards the front of the mat. Tuck the toes in underneath the heels, draw the belly button in, and think about those 3 points of contact. My head is in line with my spine, my rib cage is down, I've got a nice neutral curve to my lower back, and then I'm gonna brace that by drawing my core in and really activating those muscles. I'm gonna kick my toes into the floor so that I lift my knees just barely off the floor, creating some space. Now, for some of you, this might be a challenging exercise. Practice that. Drop the knees back down again, stabilize everything again. Take a nice big breath in, drive those toes down, lift the knees up, hold, and release. For those of you who want a little bit more intensity, we're gonna crawl now. So stabilize those shoulders, core's nice and tight. Drive those toes down into the ground, lift those knees up. Now we're gonna move the left hand forward and the right leg forward. Then move the right hand and the left leg. I want you to really concentrate on keeping that spine nice and stable throughout. Find that start position, hold. You can either turn a nice long space, you can keep going from there. So reset that, hands under shoulders, turn the crease of the elbows, tuck the toes in underneath, lift. For those of you who are at this position, just keep working on that. Pull the knees up away from the floor, activate the core. Let's try crawling forward, breathe. Come back to that start position and release. One more time. Come on, we got this. Let's do it again. Hands are in underneath shoulders, crease the elbows forward, tuck the toes in underneath, core's nice and tight. Lift the knees up and crawl. Keep that back strong. Really watch any rotation or any movement that doesn't need to be there. Release and relax. So now that we've finished all 3 sets for your ankles, your hips, and your upper body, you can go through the set once, or you can rewind, go back to the top, and do it again 2 or 3 more times. Making sure to focus on that form, making sure to find that neutral spine position, which is so important, and working through those deep ranges of motion. When you finish those extra sets, I'm gonna meet you back here against the wall with your yoga mat and a towel to come into your stretching. So come on down on the floor. I want you to have your towel beside you. And what you're gonna do is sit right next to the wall. If you know you have really tight hamstrings though, you might wanna give your hips a little bit more space away from the wall. If you have fairly lengthened hamstrings, then you can bring yourself in a little bit closer. But turning sideways to the wall, you're gonna go ahead and swing your legs around and get yourself into position where you're lying on your back on your mat. Then I want you to grab that rolled up towel and place it directly behind the knee joint between your knee and the wall. A couple different things to consider: that neutral spine, lengthen the back of the neck, walk the shoulders down, engage the rib cage into the mat, and find that space in underneath your lumbar spine. So you can actually take your hands, slide them in underneath your lower back to hold that as a placeholder. I want you to draw the toes down to the shins, really feel that stretch on the back side of the leg. And now we're gonna do a little bit of contracting and releasing. So I want you to actively push the back of the knees right into the towel, really feel those quadricep muscles activate, which is gonna help relax the back line of the body, and then release and relax that. Push those knees into the towel, breathe. Exhale, release and relax. Do that a few more times. Press the back of the knees right into the towels. Keep pulling the toes down towards the shin. Double check that neutral spine. Make sure everything's in that position. Push those knees in. Activate those quads. Release and relax. A few more times. So really feel the back side of the body lengthening as we're here. Again, if it's too intense, move your hips farther away from the wall. If it's not intense enough, then you can bring your hips a little bit closer to the wall. Good, last time, press in and release, nicely done. You can go ahead and just bring those legs down to the side, pretty graceful, and bring yourself back up again. So our next exercise, we're gonna take that towel, keep it rolled up, but then you wanna flatten it down a little bit so it's a cushion in underneath your knee. So I want you to take the towel and place it right against the wall, and now you're gonna take your knee, place it up onto that towel with your foot up on the wall. Now, this is a pretty deep stretch for our hips, for the front of our ankle, right down through the front of our shin. If this is already challenging in this position, then I want you to hold and breathe here. Keep that core nice and tight. Try to squeeze those glutes this time to help drive that hip open. Stay here for a little bit, let the body release and relax into it. When you feel the body starting to soften, I'm going to get you to bring the front leg around into a lunge. Again, focusing on keeping that body up in that neutral spine position, rib cage down, core is on, glutes are active, driving that hip into a nice deep stretch. If you're able to maintain that alignment of the spine, you can go ahead and walk up onto that front leg. Really concentrate though on not allowing these compensations of popping the rib cage, excessively curving that lower back. Hold yourself in that nice strong position as you press into the wall, getting into that really deep stretch on the front of the hip and into the quads. Make sure that you can still activate your core and your glutes in this position. So squeeze that glute, draw that belly button in, and breathe. Relax the shoulders. Nice, powerful inhale. Long, slow exhale. One more time. Deep breath in. And exhale. Go ahead and bring yourself back down to the ground, or if you're already there, that's okay. We're gonna go ahead and switch that up. Place the other knee up on top of that towel, foot goes up onto the wall. Again, just do a quick check-in of your body. If this is intense enough, hold and breathe in this space here. Next level, draw that leg, bring it up. You can go ahead and use your hand on your ankle to help get it into position. Thinking again about that spine, keeping it nice and strong. Draw the head back in line. Squeeze the glutes and activate the core. You can go ahead and start to walk up as the body softens into it. Watch for those patterns again. Rib cage is down, shoulders are relaxed, head's in line with the spine. Check to see if those glutes are working. Again, focusing on your breath. I want you to imagine taking a nice deep breath into the tight spaces on the front of that hip and thigh. Exhale and relax. One more time, deep breath in. And exhale. And slowly go ahead and release. Bring yourself down. You can just roll that leg in. Come on up to standing nice and slow. And you're done. So it's important in those last two stretches to really hold them. Holding a stretch for only 15, 20, even 30 seconds isn't really going to allow your body to relax into it and to release. So set yourself a timer and hold the stretches for at least 90 seconds, upwards of 2 to 3 minutes. That's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, and actually lengthening those hip flexors, opening them up, releasing that hamstring, and getting into that neutral spine position. Thanks for joining me here in It's Your Fitness in the studio. Hopefully all of this made sense. If you have any questions, please comment below, and we'll see you next time.
All right, if you enjoyed that video, make sure to hammer that like button and subscribe, because we've got more coming to you. Thank you very much.